Hello and welcome to our segment of 71 Magazine. I'm your host, Jaime Rafferty. We are happy to have OMU serving as our underwriter today, and with us from OMU are Sonia Dixon and Barry Hardy. Hello, guys.
Hey,
Hello.
How are you, Jaime?
Very good. And Barry, we haven't had you on in a while.
I know. I was beginning to think maybe there was something wrong with me.
There is something wrong. There is something wrong, and the something wrong is you're going to be leaving us, so we're going to relish in this last segment with you.
Okay. All right.
Is
Bring
that
it
okay?
on. Bring it
All
on.
right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to talk today. It has been a very nice summer, hot at times, but people are outside, and we need to know some things safety-wise to look for and to be aware of with electricity outdoors. So, Barry, I'm going to start with you. What are some things you'd like to share with our audience today?
Well, it's probably just some things that I experience and that we see at work a lot of times,
Okay.
and that. Of course, there's a lot of outdoor activity. There's and people have swimming pools.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times that we've noticed where people they'll have kids that will want to go out by maybe an above-ground swimming pool, and they'll put them right underneath the power lines. So there's certain things that really people need to look out for swimming when they're wet. You do not want a power line going over top of your pool. A lot of times when you're cleaning, and you have your big steel rod, you're not looking up, you're looking down, and you got your big sweep. So you have to look out for that. And then you have kids who, they're wet, they're outside, and maybe you have a radio playing and things, and you have all the pool equipment there also. And it wasn't very long ago where I just read on the internet where some girl, actually she was on a dock at a lake, and they had power ran to it, and she grabbed the ladder to get up, and it electrocuted her. And what it is, they don't have proper grounds on it. They're not wired correctly, and you have people who try to save money and maybe they don't put GFIs in receptacles, or maybe they don't ground properly. And it's a matter of life and death. So they really need to make sure if anyone is unsure, get a qualified electrician, have them ground everything they have outside. I mean, when their pool equipment, if they have GFIs, make sure they work properly. If
And
they
tell
don't,
them what GFI is.
it's a ground fault circuit interrupter, and it's very quick. It's something that it between life and death. Some places don't have GFIs, but you can buy. There's an adapter you can buy that you'll plug in. It's like $20 or so, and it's a portable GFI that you can take with you.
Great.
So is something that's really good to have as well.
Well, and Sonia, Barry mentioned something about it being overhead. There's something that you always tell us when you go outside and you're getting ready to put something in your yard.
Look up.
Look up.
Because lots of times, you're carrying a ladder and you're focused on not smacking everyone in front of you or banging up the house or all that sort of thing, or running into the bushes. But look up. Keep in mind that you have a service line as well as other lines in your area, so you always need to look up. Look up and look around. We've talked about what you need to do before you dig, and I'm sure Barry will talk about that, but look up. I don't know how many times we've had somebody call in and they've run something through their service line and been lucky, or they've put a ladder against their house right where their service line is, and they're up against it. So you need to look around, and maybe do that before you go outside with that ladder. Take a minute and look around and make sure.
About the pool. People don't look up to put the pool in. They're thinking there's a clear area on the ground. But you make a great point that it doesn't need to go above those lines. So there could be a clear area on the ground, be a great place for a pool, but electricity-wise, it's not.
And it's the fact that you maybe have people in the pool, and something happens that something happens at the pole or service line. You don't want that thing dropping in the pool.
No.
And that's really a bad. It's really a bad thing.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people putting up privacy fences and things like that. Everybody's outside working. First, you got your power tools. You have to make sure, if you can use a power tool that's not plugged in, a battery operated, that's the best way to go. But if you use ones that are plugged in, make sure they're up to date. Make sure they have insulated handles. You're plugged into a GFI, because you get all hot, sweaty. If you don't have a proper GFI or a proper ground, or if it's not insulated, and you have a fault in that piece of equipment, it's going to go through your body and it's going to go to ground. When you're digging post holes, you have to make sure. People just assume there's nothing back there. There's so many people who don't even know where their panel is.
Right.
They don't know where their water shut off is, anything. outside it's much worse. So they really need to make sure they call the BUD number and 811, just so, and they come out, it's free, they can mark everything, and that way they know they're safe, because there could be a gas line or an electric line. So
You know, even, and what's great about that, he mentioned it's a free service. You call a few days ahead of time. You even tell them what you're doing. I just had one marked in my yard not long ago because I was planting a tree. And it's fantastic. I mean, you know where everything is. And keep in mind, I don't know where the gas line comes into my house.
Right.
I do now.
Right.
Generally, I'm still going to have it marked again. You know, you may not know where your cable is. You may
Right.
not know where your, you know, my concerns are obviously if you have underground electric and gas and water. But just knowing where all of those things are, it's a free service and all of the utilities work together. And it's so easy. You can even do it. I did mine online at the Before You Dig site. But you can call 811 and answer some simple, very simple questions. They'll even call you back to confirm and then also let you know when it's completed.
Well, and that was a question that I had. You do see, and I actually know 2 people this summer who have put in their own fencing. They called before they dug.
Right, right.
But we think going in there, oh, this is a weekend project, but you could get in there and disrupt a whole, you could hurt yourself and then
Yeah.
disrupt a whole lot of things.
that, I mean, that's disrupting is bad enough, but it's
hurt,
just,
yeah.
yes, if you
Getting
live
hurt.
to pay the consequences. I mean, and I mean, that scares me every day that somebody just, they don't understand and they're going to go out there, and it could be something, and I know they've talked about planting shrubs and things, and it's real easy. People just don't think about it, and they'll dig, and there it is. So.
Well, you know, I think most people think, oh, I'm only digging a foot or I'm
Right.
only digging 2 feet.
Yeah.
That's not going to make a difference. Well, it does. It does
Right.
make a difference. You're planting a tree, you're planting shrubs. Call before you dig. And like I said, you know, typically you're planting it. You're planning when to get your plants. You're doing that. Just kind of add that to your list of things to do.
Another thing that we've discussed in years past, and it's been a while since we've done this, is because of the time of year it is, I see kids on bicycles everywhere. And I know there are some areas out in the county and in the city here where kids get into, like, they like to lean their bikes on these pad mount transformers. They like to go near them, or they throw ball, you know, people are outside with activities. This is also a very serious issue. People are outside. I mean, it's very serious if someone were to come into contact with it. What do we need to tell kids to look for and parents to look for in the way of things that are outside? And we're not planting in front of them anymore, but we just don't really need to go near them.
Right. Well, unfortunately, people do plant in front of them. I
Yes.
mean, there's times you can drive by and never know what's there. But we have them on our plats and the GIS. But I mean, we put the warning labels on them. But that's not enough. And
Yeah.
we see the same thing. I mean, the transformers and the pad mount junction boxes, they're made for outdoor use. And if they have to be at the public eye, they're safe, they're grounded. I mean, one thing we want people to notice, we all have locks on them. You know,
Yes,
if
yeah.
a lock is missing, or especially if it's missing or someone's cut it off, it's ever open, those are things that need to be reported to us. And if they're not labeled properly, if there's not any markings on them, we'd love to know that. So we'll go out there. We inspect them, but there's times maybe one's missing, or it was covered by plants, we don't know what's there. So it's, you know, it's funny. We had some, you know, we'll go down to Smothers Park, and really, if you didn't have your plat, you wouldn't know where they were.
Yeah.
Because they hide them.
They blend in really
They're not
well.
on top. They're not on top of the transformers and switches, but they give them breathing room. But they are surrounded, so you can't see them. So, and that
Yes.
happens. It's out everywhere. So it's sometimes it's trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Right. Like Barry said, I mean, they're grounded, they're locked, they're protected, but you certainly don't want kids over there shaking
Right.
doors,
Right.
sitting on top of them, throwing things against them.
And that's what I've seen is kids leaning on them, sitting on them, bikes on
It's
them.
just kind of staying clear.
Yeah.
That's what those big stickers are about. I think it's just a good thing. And then you know how kids are. Once you get one convinced, if they see another kid, oh, you know, you're not supposed to be doing that. Get it away from there. But it's just a good idea to stay away. We do everything we can to make them blend in.
Right.
We want them to look, you know, as natural as a big metal box is going to look. We
Right,
understand that. But they do. If you look, they're not allowed color,
Right.
you're seeing that. But certainly, kind of just keeping kids. Maybe move them to another side of the yard. Avoid it. I think we've talked about the fact that when our crews are out there working on them, they use hot sticks to work on them,
Yes.
and there's a reason
There's
for that.
a distance
Right.
between
Right.
them and the box.
And just you going through this taping and this show, I mean, at least we're educating them, so that really
right.
helps out. But it's funny. We used to a lot of Powertown. I think we still do some.
We
of
still
it.
do.
But it's we'll go in, and a lot of times the kids, they actually know because we have some of those transformers in part of our Powertown presentation, and they know it's the teachers who've never been through it before. And they they'll talk about a power line laying on a school bus, and you ask the kids, what do you do? And the kid would say, well, you stay on the bus, you wait for the utility, and the teacher would say, no, you jump off and run.
And you get them off the bus,
And
right.
I said, no, ma'am, you don't. You stay on the bus unless there's a reason why you have to get off that bus.
Yeah.
You stay on
But it's
it.
rewarding to know we've gotten that message out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
And the
and
kids
It
know
is.
and that they listen. And,
Right.
And,
And they all knew. It was just the teacher. She's like, oh, no, you jump off and run. And I said, no, ma'am.
No, you stay there. Well, there are a lot of ways that you all get information out, Sonia, and some of these tips. Last year we had a very long summer. I believe that I saw some pools open into October, and so we could have similar where people are outdoors a whole lot again this year. You just never can tell. But
Right.
this information is ongoing, whether it's winter, summer, or what have you. But what are some good ways that you all get information out that the public can stay plugged in?
Well,
no
always-
pun intended.
Always through 71 Magazine. This is a great opportunity for us to talk about it, and Barry's an expert. I mean, we get to bring an expert in and let him talk about electrical safety, which I know is something very near and dear to him. We also, Facebook, we have lots of great tips out there. We have some graphics, just some quick information that's easy to get when you're scrolling through, while you're in the waiting room. We have been using Twitter quite a bit, and I always want to remind people that our website always has information on it. It's at omu.org, and then certainly when you have questions, even if you have questions about the BUD program, we want you to call us at 270-926-3200. Our group, that's what they're there for. They want to answer questions. We have a great knowledgeable staff that would be glad to address some of those things with you.
Well, Barry, you're going to have to keep in touch with us. How are we supposed to get this message out if rely on Sonia and the new folks coming in at OMU?
You'll have to do some training. You'll have to do
Yes.
some
Well,
training.
you've got my number. So.
I do. I have to say, Barry talks a lot about electrical safety and that sort of thing. And one of the things that I've enjoyed about working with Barry, and he was, especially when I first came to OMU, was very good about teaching me things. As you mentioned, we're going to have to get some training, is his dedication to public service. He truly understands what a public utility is. And when we talk about customer service, we're talking about Barry. And to hear kind of how he's gone above and beyond the call so many times for our customers, people he doesn't even know that have called in and have questions and need information, and his complete attitude toward our customers, I think is exemplary. And I know it's rubbed off on a lot of people that you've been working with over the years.
Well,
We'll see.
We'll see. If not,
I think so. There's a lot of good people.
we have a lot of good people, and then Barry is certainly he understands the importance of the OMU family,
Yeah.
and how there's not a time that any of us can't call upon him with our own questions. I know I've called him about electrical questions at my house, and I don't hire a contractor without saying, is this what I need to do? And I talk to Barry, and he's great. So he's been a pleasure to work with, and also been fantastic for our customers. I think anybody that's ever talked with Barry or had any interaction as a customer will tell you that.
yeah, they appreciate it. That's what
Yes.
we're for. That's what we're for. So
Local
Well,
people, local service.
That's what I was getting ready to say. You exemplify that. Barry, I'm going to give you just one last chance. When you think of leaving and you want to leave a piece of information about safety with your customers, what is something you'd like to leave with them?
I'm just saying, when in doubt, don't. Really,
That
when
is good advice.
That's great
you
advice.
just have. You can go online, you can send questions in, you can call on you, whether it's power line, anything. Electricity, you can't see it,
Right.
and you can't hear it, but it's there. So when in doubt, they just make sure they make a call. Never take a chance, because it's very unforgiving.
Yes.
So that's what's probably drew me to it when I first started doing this back in 1980 or so, and it's something different every day. So it's nothing to play with. I've worked in people's homes before, and I've told them, never, I don't ever want to see you doing electrical work again. I mean, just because it was very unsafe. So just make sure you get someone who knows what they're doing, and don't take any chances.
Very good point.
It's very
good points.
Anyway.
And you've been a pleasure to work with over the last several
thanks
years.
for having me.
You're so welcome. And Sonia, we love having you, and we'll have you back next month.
You'll have me for a long time.
That's
You're not
right.
leaving? You're not
No.
leaving
Not
today?
leaving.
No.
She
Okay.
can't. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me, and we'd like to thank OMU for continuing to serve as our underwriter. And please stay tuned. We'll be with the DC CAP program.